There are a couple other, these are mostly the stuff I'm going over are using the basic things that Corel does to really create fairly complex items. The next thing I'm going to do is we're going to, again, I'm going to take just a simple design and let me put a little circle on that. And I'll do it black and give it a little bit of texture there. Okay. So when you, I'm going to combine this, and what happens when you combine is it gives you the dimensions of everything. It's really good if you're going to run a file and you're close, you don't know if you're really accurate on where it's going to be on the wood. If you're going to have enough room, it's going to run off the edge. If you select everything, you can read the exact measurements of what you're going to need in a piece of wood right there. The wood has to be at least that big in order for it to run. So, and I always add about 5% more just to be sure I have a little edge material. So it's a really good to be able to actually measure the exact item that you've drawn is to see how big it's going to be. Now, when you first select it, you get the handles on the side. These allow you to stretch and move. If you click it again, of course, you get the rotate. And rotate can be really interesting in that you can, do some interesting designs. You also, this is called the center point. And here's where you can make some very interesting designs, is you do a simple element like we did with that original drawing, and then we're going to move this center outside the design. All right? Do you all see that? It's there. Okay. Now when I grab these and move it, you can see that it makes a pattern. And if I right click, it does that. And if I hit Control, repeat, it'll just go around in a circle. Now, Corel does something really nice, which is that if you drag this and hold Control, it will automatically calculate how many it takes to fill that space. And it'll put it at exactly the spot it needs to be in order to have a perfect circle. So I'm going to Control right click. Now when I repeat it, it should match up perfect. So if you try to do this on your own without the control, you can never get the spacing exact. Okay. So if we, I usually work only on the elements that are on the top or bottom, left and right, because the angles kind of throw it off. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this up just for an example. I'm going to right click it and I'm going to make it a little bit smaller here. And then I'm going to use the control and flip it. And let's see, we're going to move now this towards the center. And I'll just go through and do, a second one. So, you can get some really unique patterns. And that's just with a really simple thing. Now, if you were to, if you don't want the entire pattern, you can go ahead and again, whenever you're going to do cookie cutter, you have to make sure you have solid dough, basically. So I'm going to do white. And so now say you don't want all the extraneous, you only want the center part of that. Then you can use your cookie cutter, put a circle in there, and now select everything. No, it didn't work. Shoot. It's doing that to me now. Not letting me do a cutter. Well, shoot, I guess you... Well, I thought I did, but maybe I didn't do them all. Oh, it's all grouped. Let me try combine. That's interesting. I apologize. It's not. Usually it works. I think there's a little glitch in the system here. because this has happened to a couple of folks and it shouldn't at all. Let me put it a little darker background. And, oh, to the back. That's what it is. This is why sometimes you get stuck on things. I don't know why it's not doing that. I apologize. It should. Let's forget the cookie cutter for now and just work with the designs. So anyway, literally any item you have, let's start with this goldfish here. When you select it again, you'll see the center of gravity basically. So you can move that anywhere you want, and then you can select control, and you notice how it'll automatically space it exactly right. So there they are. That's actually going to be a cool pattern. I hadn't thought about that. For a fly box. So it's a really powerful for they call them mandalas or mandals, the circular things with all sorts of patterns in them. All right. So I'm going to, you got it? Oh, I know.
It won't repeat it.
I'm going to show you some of the ways that I get designs that I use. I have an iPad. Okay, let me see if I've got a photograph here. This would probably be a good time to let you, you may want to get your pencils out, where to get artwork. We'll just jump into that. I can go online with this here?
Yes. You're
okay.
Right there is Chrome.
Okay. All right. Probably the foremost place to get artwork, one of the things is you want to be very careful, and especially nowadays, you want to teach the kids to respect copyrights. You don't want them just grabbing anything they want off the net, because it does two things. One, people who are trying to make a living off their art don't get paid, and two, it makes it acceptable bad behavior. So you really want to be careful and restrict, what you get from sites that are free and they're called public domain, or that you buy. And there are places as you can buy them that are very, very cheap. Probably the one we want to go to that's the biggest collection is owned by Google, of course, and it's called Wiki Commons. WIKICOMM. There it is, Wiki Commons. All right, let's go to Wiki Commons. Okay, Wiki Commons has something like 1 billion copyright free. All artwork on this is almost all copyright free. If it's not, they'll let you know. And so you can go in here and it'll do artwork. It'll do all sorts of interesting things. Let's look for something. Since I do a lot of fly fishing, let's look for trout. Okay, so I can go ahead and look and see that we have trout, and they have, it's looking like they have probably 5,000 or 6,000 trouts. And these are all copyright free. So I'm going to go ahead and select one here. All right, there it is. There's a trout. And I'm going to go ahead and right click, and I'm going to just save that image. Oh, here it is. So I'm downloading that image now. Okay, so that trout is available now to you. It's on your computer. You own that or don't own it, but you can use it because it's copyright free. This is from a government material. Wiki Commons has lots of interesting things. What works best, though, for working in when you're searching a place like Wiki Commons is that if you put the term illustration behind it, because an illustration is a hand-drawn usually black and white image. And those are usually the best for laser. So I'm going to put in trout and then illustration. All right. So now we will get only hand-drawn pictures and things like that. You can see over here. Now what you can do, for example, let's look at this picture. Just as this is, if you were to put this picture on a piece of wood or acrylic and engrave it, it would come out pretty much just like this. They engrave very well. So this is a really good way to experiment with photographs if you want to use those in your work. Say you have a family box for keeping mementos in, you can actually put a picture of the people who you're giving the box to, or a memory box or something like that. So Wiki Commons is a really powerful way to go. Now they actually even have, if you put in trout illustration or you put vector, because vector files work directly in Corel, and you can manipulate the elements and everything. So as you notice here, here are trout vector drawings, or drawings that have fish in it that you can use straight in without any change at all. So that's the first place to go. And I use that a lot, especially when you're looking for esoteric stuff. Like I had to do the picture on the large fly box was found in WikiLeaks as a Japanese fishing etching, and it popped up. So I was able to find that one. The next one is vectors. If you use the term vectors, that means it'll work directly in that. This is vector stock. And this has a interesting idea that you buy however many images you want. They're $1 a piece. So I keep like $25 in this account at all times so that if I need something, I don't go to it very often, but if I need it, I can do it. This you can literally find absolutely anything. If you want to find, you know, a left-handed elves, it'll probably have one in there. So if we put in, let's do turtles. And we'll look, and this has turtles. We'll go to the bottom here. I want to see something. So this has 30 of these pages of nothing but turtles. And so if you want one, you click on it, and if you have an account, it'll charge you $1, and it's yours to use as you want. So it's a really good way of finding artwork. Some of the really cool ones are tattoos. Tattoo art. And this will give you literally, I bet you there's just no idea how many there are, but they're all, I mean, you can click on it, it'll tell you that. Now this, would get, of course, would be a repeating pattern, that you could, you know, make an entire background out of that pattern. So this is a place to really get good artwork that's very cheap. The last thing, and the thing you don't want to do, unless you're really computer savvy, is go for free. Whenever you put free in the search line in any web browser, it immediately goes to sites that might give you something you don't want along with it. But we'll put in free vectors. No, I'm not going to do your computers here. Free vectors and files. Now, free pick is actually a pretty good one. But some of these will actually put malware on your thing. So it's best to look at a thing and then go online and research it. Does it have malware? I know this one doesn't. So anyway, and these are free items that you can download and use at will. And so I would not tell your students about free vectors until you've gone through and checked them out yourself. And then if you find one that you like and it works, then you go ahead and give them that if they want to find an artwork. Really, the best way is to draw their own and to do their own art. Some kids are good, some aren't. The thing is that if you